high-risk investment. Trading on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Before deciding to trade, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Market opinions. Any opinions, news, research, analyses, prices, or other information contained on this video is provided as general market commentary and does not constitute investment advice. Master the Markets will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation to any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on such information.
Very, 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 very warm welcome. Here we are going live onto YouTube as well. Starting off from here, from London here. My name is Stu Napan, founder of Master the Markets, Illustrious Conference and the Traders Open Day. And I'm joined by my very good friend and trader and CEO of Trade Guider, Gavin Holmes as well. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be taking a look at what's happening in the markets, a simple strategy that we've put together based on price and volume, which has really taken off even on Ninja Trader. When we last did it, just in 1 month, we had 18,000 views. Gavin did another one, 28,000 views. So it's really got lots of excitement and interest, and it's really showing really good results in real time as well. So we'll share with you all these incredible principles and the strength of these both methodologies combined together today. We'll look at a few instruments. Gavin, if you just want to start off, I know we had a quick meeting before. We looked at gold and the S&P and the NASDAQ and all of that. If you want to just start off, just showing us maybe your screen and everything on what the things that we are looking at, and just the outline of the sharpshooter strategy as well, that'd be great.
Yep, I will do. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you all. My camera doesn't work on this computer, unfortunately.
That's fine.
So,
That's fine.
Yeah, but you should be able to hear me fine. Welcome to you all. We'll give you a little bit. I know some of you are brand new because this is a picture. You should all better see the picture of Tiru and I trading live at the London Trader Show. And we were represented on the active trades stand as well. Very successful day. I mean, as you can see there, the booth was absolutely packed, and we got in front of a lot of people. Some of you are in this room. I've had a lot of emails, well over 68 now. I'm just counting them. And my wife is getting back to you all with a copy of the book, which I'm going to give anyone here today. If you haven't got my book, you're going to get a complimentary copy of that. But a bit of background, because a lot of you have come into it. We had a massive surge into our database. And I know Tiru did as well, from people, possibly from the show, possibly from stuff that we did last week on YouTube, where I talked about the potential long in gold, which we can talk about today. And we're going to show you a strategy that Tiru and I have spent some time putting together using price action and volume spread analysis. Now, some of you don't even know what VSA is. Don't worry, we'll get it covered today. We've got about an hour and a half to 2 hours, so we're not under time pressure, but obviously we appreciate your time, and we're here to help you. Now, first and foremost, that's me, as you can see there, and that's Tiru. And we were up on the stage there with live charts, showing the setups, showing exactly what was going to happen. And, we went and then traded on the stand and saw what was happening in gold, which was a clear long trade. We saw what was happening on the GBP. Well, the big trade of the day was the short on the pound euro. All right. And we've got another one coming up, funny enough, which I'll show you. This was the London Trader Show. So let me start off by saying how Tiru and I actually met and why there is a connection between what Tiru's software and what he teaches connects to Trade Guider and volume spread analysis. And it comes from an initial meeting where I turned up to build our stand at a booth, and I saw this stand opposite me and it said Master the Markets. Well, that was the name of Tom's second book. I thought, someone's pirating our book. Someone's copying it. So it's Tiru smiling there, but this is a true story, right? So I walked over to the booth and I spoke to this lovely lady. She said, "Oh, no, Tiru's the boss." I said, "Well, okay, I'll have a chat with him." And I shook his hand. I said, "Master the Markets, yeah, great name. Why are you stealing our book?" And he said, "We're talking about," he didn't even know that Tom Williams had written a book called Master the Markets, which is a prequel to the Undeclared Secrets book. And I said, "What do you do?" And then we got chatting. And then he said, well, what do you do? Because he didn't know much about volume spread analysis at the time. And came over to the booth. He looked at the charts. He went, that's amazing. That's the sort of thing that we're doing, but in a different way. And long story short, that was years ago. We became very good friends. I went to his the christening of his baby. It's been brilliant. We've become very good friends, but we have the same passion. That's the most important part, which is to help the uneducated, the traders that lose money, to become proficient. To such an extent, in my case, that I opened a hedge fund, or you want to call it that, an asset management division based out of Gibraltar, 2 years old now. Some of the people in that are customers. Now, one of the things that I learned very quickly was when you look at price charts, as we did. By the way, the presentation that we did at the show is available on YouTube. Okay, and all you've got to do is go to our YouTube channel, and you can see here it's called the London Trader Show, Wyckoff VSA and SMI presentation live. We haven't promoted it yet, but so it's already had, without any promotion, over 200 views. I think it's going to keep going. But in order to find it, you just go to youtube.com/trade guider. And in fact, you can just see here, I'll show you exactly what you do. It's youtube.com, which is what we're broadcasting on now. But just type in Trade Guider, and you will then get a link there. If you click on the videos tab, you'll be able to see that presentation. It's only 30 minutes. It's not a long one. Okay, so you come here, you click on there's the home page, but click on the video link and go and take a look at it. It was, it talks a little bit about what we're going to talk about today, but in a bit more detail. Now, I want to get to the charts because I know that's why you're all here. But before I do, let me tell you a little bit about myself and Tiru. Okay, so Tiru, when he comes in, we'll talk about his background. I know he comes from a pharmaceutical background. I come from a law enforcement background. I'm an ex-police officer. But I've written 2 books. The first one is called Trading in the Shadow of the Smart Money. And today I'm going to give you that book. It's a PDF. And if you want to email me to get the copy of it, in case you're not able to cut and paste it. I mean, I don't know if Kyron can put that up, but it's very straightforward. It's tradeguider.com. Trading in the Shadow /book1.pdf. You've got a copy of that, all of you. But today we're going to talk about strategy. Now, the strategy that I wrote, what I did, and I'm going to talk about this today, is I wrote 4 strategies with Tom before he passed away. And Tom Williams was the man that invented volume spread analysis. Okay. These little alerts that you're hearing in the background, I'll explain what they are. They're alerts that are coming in because I'm actually in a position right now, and they're just telling me what to look for. And I'm using my phone, my iPhone 13 Pro, for emails. So anything that sends me an email from the software. Now, I'm using SMI, which is Smart Money Indicator, which was developed by Tiru and his team, and I'm using volume spread analysis. Now, in the presentation, I don't want to repeat myself because if you go to that YouTube video, it's only 30 odd minutes long, you'll see the importance of ultra high volume. Very, very important indeed. And today I'm going to analyze with Tiru. We're going to look at gold, obviously, because that's what I consider myself. Well, that's where I do most of my trading. The NASDAQ, and I'm going to look at Tesla as well as a stock. The key to this is understanding well, I said this to Tiru. We spoke earlier on before we started the presentation. What is it that traders are actually looking for? Right? What do they want? Is it software? Is it coaching? Is it we went through a whole list of things. Is it knowledge? Well, of course it is. So we're going to show you
I
today.
think, you know what, Gavin, I think just on that point is a really good one. I mean, if the people listening in on YouTube and on the Zoom here, if you can just type into the chat box, what is the one thing that you're really looking for that can improve your trading? Is it more mentorship? Is it more better strategies? Or is it better entries? What is it exactly? Or is it better discipline? If you can just type in the chat box, that would really help us. And then we can also hone in on that if there's time as well on this presentation. Yeah, sorry, Gavin, carry on.
No, it's good. That's a great point. That is a really good point. Help us to help you. Okay, we're here to do our jobs, right? Between us, we've got over 50 years experience. We know what we're doing. And in fact, the team that I've got around me and the team that are around Tiru, lots of experience. We've been around Trade Guider. I've just actually got in front of me, it's quite interesting, one of Tom Williams's first marketing brochures, right? And it's dated 1991, right? And I'll just very briefly read to you what this says, because it will set the scene for when Tiru and I start doing the analysis. We brought Tom's company, Genie Software Limited, from him 24 years ago. And in this brochure, which I've got in front of me, it says Genie Software Limited, volume spread analysis. Learn to trade like a professional. And it was called at the time VSA 5 Professional. It's a real-time and end-of-day expert trading system, producing automatic signals of surprising accuracy. This is not a black box system, but based on sound and well-tested theories, first put forward by Richard D. Wyckoff, which is a very important thing, in 1932. In fact, it was earlier than that. Tom got that wrong. It was actually, I've got one of Wyckoff's magazines of Wall Street here. You can hear. And it's dated 1918. And everything that he said then is still relevant today. This software is suitable for trading stocks, options, futures, or commodities, either end of day or intraday. Exactly the same with the SMI indicator. Okay. The Wyckoff method is endorsed and taught at the Golden Gate University of San Francisco. Correct. It's recommended learning by the Society of Technical Analysis of San Francisco, and indeed had several write-ups in Stocks and Commodities magazine, the world's leading technical analysis magazine. Now, when I showed you that picture earlier, that was a picture of the London Traders Expo, but actually, Tiru and I presented Tiru, you can talk about this briefly because you were the one who was invited. We went to a very important show up in London. Just tell us a brief background. How did you get invited to that and why was it so important? The Society of Technical Analysis.
Yeah, the Society of Technical Analysis, guys, I think some of you here, right? I mean, I can see you've been following our price and volume methodology for quite some time. And they themselves, Society of Technical Analysis, I mean, they've been going on for many years now. I think since the 1970s, 1980s, the non-profit organization, they're all over the world, very reputable. And they saw our indicator, which gives the three stats, right, for any strategy construction or to improve any strategy performance, as most of you would have heard. And they found it very unique because there's nowhere online where it will give you probability stats. And trading is based on probabilities, is it not, traders, right? So it gives the probability stats on a point of entry, how much move is left. So they found that very interesting. And then we got an email saying that, you know what, you're invited to come and speak on the next Society of Technical Analysis meeting. And then we went last year, and then there's photos of that. You can check it on our website and all of that, where we went to go and talk. And ever since, I mean, it's just got more and more popular. And Gavin was there as well. I was showing both of them, the VSA, the volume, as well as price, on how it all comes together. And there were really intelligent people there. There were hedge fund managers over there as well who came to talk to me later, and they said, I found that really interesting and we haven't seen anything like that, and I would like to check more of your work that you have done. So that's how big and wide this thing is going, and it can definitely help with whatever strategy that you are using, because it's a flexible framework. It's not rigid. What me and Gavin we have over here at MasterTheMarkets and Trade Guider is not a buy and sell indicator. It's a flexible framework you can put anything on top of and can use in conjunction with any other tool, and can help with everything that you guys have just mentioned over here, which is better entries. David, you're saying better entries, better entry confirmations. Yes, both these methodologies can help with that. Discipline, consistent profits. Yes, Lex, absolutely. Strategy, absolutely. Everything what you guys have mentioned, these methodologies will help and will show that to our best extent within this short time period that we have on this live webinar. Over to you, Gavin.
Okay, long S&P now. Already got long earlier, and now it's going to go higher because of the signal. Okay, this is a Wyckoff spring followed by a test. You can see that Smart Center Pro, which is what I'm using, is already alerted. Tiru, we talked about this an hour ago, that it's setting up. Absolutely. And I said, this is where they're going to mark it down into the spring bar and mark it back up. you can see Smart Center Pro, which is the professional version of the software that I'm using, is alerting it. And if I look at the TradingView product, which is another one, it's got the SMI. It's all over it, okay? And what it's doing is we've got to look at trend alignment. But I want to start quickly, but while we're watching this.
You know, it's very interesting, exactly what we spoke about before we started, because I was mentioning a more longer term where you put the stop loss below the big spring bar that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't taken out that low. If you can just show them that low as well, so the audience will know exactly. So it hasn't.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you were saying for a shorter time frame strategy, you wouldn't enter at the last test, but you will wait for the low to be taken out and then to bounce. And it's done exactly that. I think it'd be really good if you can run through the audience on what's exactly happening.
I will do this because this is going to go up, right? Okay.
Right.
Now, the reason I'm confident of this is like we were at the show, Tiru, right? Same thing in gold. But we were doing it in front of a large audience. Okay, we've got hundreds of people watching this, and you know we're not using PowerPoints, right? We had to use a PowerPoint at the show. I hate using PowerPoints because you don't show the live action. We know between us that when we've traded live, we've never lost a trade. We haven't, but we've managed our risk. And here you mentioned to me, if you're going to, Gavin, what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for a test. Okay, so you've got a reversal. I said, I'm waiting for the test. Well, look at what happened. I'm not, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't tell what's going to happen. I trade what I see. Although I will tell you a quick story, Terry. I did actually have a guy ring me in the Chicago office when I was in Chicago. And he said, listen, Mr. Holmes, I just saw your call on gold. This was years ago, and it was a short. He said, you told me gold was topping out, and I had sold my gold, and I've made money. How are you doing it? And just as a joke, I said, well, hold on, I'm just going to open my door and get my crystal ball out. You use a crystal ball? Wow. How can I get one? I said, no, I don't. But I will read this to you. This is quite amusing. So Tom wrote this years ago, God rest his soul. And he said, right, the VSA indicators are based on supply and demand, volume, and the activities of the main players on the other side of the trade. The quality and the accuracy of these, he called them signals, but I'll say indicators, shows without doubt that theories are not flawed. And this is the next major step forward in market analysis. Well, it is. Look at what's going on here. You will know, he says, why an indicator stroke signal has appeared. You will know why there's going to be a likely turn in the market, which there is. You will know what is going on in the market. You will soon realize that there are no secrets. There are no magical formulas in the stock market, as he called it. We know this because some of the finest brains in the world have been looking and searching carefully over many years. However, he always used to use that word, all markets do move on supply and demand. I repeat that. All markets do move on supply and demand, while professional traders are taking opportunities whenever possible to catch your stops, mislead you, take you out of a good trade, or get you into a poor one to better their own accounts. Unfortunately, this is how the markets work and will always do. But the most striking information will probably be the realization that practically all the information you see, read, or hear about the stock market, and again, he was talking years ago, we're now talking about the markets, can be extremely misleading, usually resulting in the market moving exactly in the opposite direction you feel it should be going, severely damaging your ego and your trading record. Trade Guider, at the time when this was VSA 5, will remove this confusion. So let's get to this, and then we'll go to the SMI indicator as well. So first of all, what have we got here? The garden is green, pretty much. This is blood red. But now we've got, apart from the 30-minute chart, which has now got here a shakeout, that's why the price is going up. It's not difficult. Okay, and Tiru was asking me, actually, at the beginning, what do we look for? Well, in Smart Center Pro, which is the professional version, I'm looking for trend alignment. Well, clearly, long. There's no argument. What have we got? You build it up. And in my second book, I talk about this sequence of events. This is a 2-bar sequence. Okay, so you've got the 2-bar reversal, and then you've got the test. Now let's put this in. I'm just going to close this down, and then I'm going to bring Tiru in. We can see it's still flashing. I'm going to reset it. Okay, so I'm going to restore all instruments. Right. So now I'm looking for long. So I'm going to just put a cross there. I'm looking for shorts in gold here. Right. And if we put gold up, I can show you why. Okay, it's not a difficult one. Gold right at the top here. No demand. No demand at market top. 1 minute chart falling here. Supply coming in. Has to be. No demand, sorry. Yeah, no demand. Precursor by supply. That's why it's going down. Okay. All explained. Now, let's put this into trading view. So this is Ninja Trader, let me be clear, which we use. And Tiru has built in the SMI indicators.
Weakness has arrived.
There you go. There it is. See it flash? Okay. Now, it's on. That's telling us that we need to be looking for shorts. And when Tiru asked me to explain that, I said, well, look, if you put the system up, you can see there the red cross, and everything's red. 1, 5, 15, 30, 60. That's weakness. That's why it's falling. It's doing the opposite to what the main indexes have done. So you can short and go long. And you look for signs of weakness. You have to look for signs of weakness. Because here, look at what's going red. And in the super scalper strategy that Tiru and I are going to teach using SMI and VSA, and we're going to go a lot more advanced than this. This is just basic because it's a public webinar, but we're going to go into some advanced techniques in our mentorship program. By the way, for those of you that have asked, we're completely full for the mentorship program that we're doing on Thursday, but we have added another one, and you're actually welcome to come and join us for that. But the last indicator that came in, and then I'll get Tiru to explain it, was no demand. No demand in a downtrend with weakness in the background, which we've clearly got. We can see where the supply was on the 4-hour chart. Okay. And then it was followed by an upthrust. See this here? Yeah. This is all why everything's turning blood red. So garden is green, blood red. Blood red, you're short. Garden is green, you're long. Very basic. Nothing confusing about it. But now we go to add in what SMI gives us, and Tiru will probably be able to show that. This is the strategy that we've developed between us. It's called Sharpshooter. We're going to add some more stuff to this document, ready for the mentorship course on Thursday. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to gold. Actually, we'll go to the ES first. Okay. Now there's some indicators at the bottom here that are pointing upwards. And then we've got a confirmation bar here. Now, that's a 5-minute chart. If I go to it was a good question. Does this work on a smaller time frame? Absolutely, it does. There's the PB indicator. There's your confirmation in SMI. And the market's going up. The reason this works is because that here is we saw in Ninja Trader a shakeout. It's a markdown. And if you look at the video that I did at the London Trader Show, where I talked about British Petroleum and how that was shaken out before it rallied, it doubled in value. It's a true story. Okay, I don't expect anyone to believe anything. You just, because you can't anymore. Looking at the TV, you've got AI, you've got deep fakes and all this. But I can tell you that's a genuine chart. That's a chart right now. You go and look. All right, this market's going up. And the SMI indicator, the reason we don't work with any other companies. The only company that we work with that complements what we do with VSA is the SMI indicator. That's it. You'll notice I don't work with any other companies with software. We don't need to. Keep it simple, stupid. With that said, I'm going to give you a copy of my book. We'll get to that towards the end. Now I'm going to hand over to Tiru, who's going to explain to you the significance of what we call the Yao Ming bar, which is there. And Tiru was asking me, so what point do you start to look at for longs? I said, when it breaks the top of that bar and the change of trend, which is built into the software, changes. And that's why it's going up. Tiru, over to you.
Great, Gavin. I think that's really nice explained. Listen, guys, so let me just put it all together in a step-by-step rule that we can then look together. Now, a couple of things. So I'll start off with maybe gold first, and then I'll teach some principles and then put in alignment on how we can use the price and volume together. And I'll give you a very simple strategy, just one strategy. Traders, you must always understand, I think in all the mentorships we have done over the 20 to 30,000 people out there between me and Gavin, what we have found quite as a common trait is most traders, they run around looking for different strategies. And they get confused in the end and they get nowhere. And then they get with inconsistency, losing back the profits that they have earned, and just getting nowhere without a strategy with an edge in the end. What I would say to break that pattern is, first, bring yourself down to just thinking in terms of just one strategy. Get that one strategy strong. Really understand it inside out. This is how we teach every client that comes to us, to me and Gavin, and that's what we're going to be doing in the mentorship program as well. Just get one strategy nailed. Once you got that strategy nailed, then go to the second strategy. Then I would say then go to the third and stop at the third strategy. All you need is really 3 strategies, get strong on it, and then scale up on it. So for today, let's focus on one. Let us give you an example of a strategy that you can use using both these methodologies of price and volume, okay, using the SMI and the VSA framework, okay? So let's take a look now. I think I'll start with gold, Gavin. So let me just do gold. Let me share my screen. And then we use that in combination with the Smart Center Pro indications that we were just speaking about just before we went live. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I can see others are typing in. All right, that's great. Let me bring up now gold over here. Yeah, so I've got the GC over here. That's fine. Have I got a GC in there? Doesn't matter. I think more or less they got the same picture. Now, this was very interesting, Gavin, because on the Smart Center Pro, you were saying that I know I remember all the lower time frames turning trend. So was the 5-minute, 15-minute, and 30, 60-minute all turning down. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's the opposite on the S&P right now. So that's all green with the buying in the background.
Yeah, so we'll finish off one first. We'll finish off on the gold. On the 240, it was gray, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the 4-hour was gray. And then daily and weekly was up. Is that right? Green boxes.
Yeah. So just to explain that briefly. So what happens is we're looking for, you were asking me, and you quite rightly said, how do you determine a trend? How do you determine it? Is it a 1 minute, a 10-second? Is it a daily? Is it a weekly? Is it a monthly? So I think, Tiru, just very quickly, I'll explain that. Markets, you've said it thousands of times, do not move in one direction. They oscillate.
They do not move in straight line.
It'd be great if they did. We'd all be millionaires, but they don't. So what the Smart Center Pro software does is it's there to determine the I call it the river, okay? Because I live next to the Bewley River here in the New Forest. Now, if you look at a weekly trend, forget the monthly for a minute, a weekly trend, if it's going down, that's the river flowing out to sea. If the daily trend is red, it's confirming that the current is strong. If the 4-hour chart is red, it's definitely going out to sea. And if the 1-hour chart is red, you know, now Gavin decides to jump in the river to have a swim, which by the way, I don't advise this, but so I go in for an easy swim, but then I'm trying to swim against the current of that river. And I tell you, I've done this. So I know this is actually true. I was in a canoe and it capsized and the current immediately picked me up and took me out towards the sea. If I hadn't had a life jacket, I wouldn't be talking to you. So price action is the same. You want to swim with the current, really.
Right.
Yeah. You don't. If you fight, don't get me wrong. Can we pick tops and bottoms? Was the question I was asked by these 2 guys that came up to the stand. I found out they were from a big bank. Another one that's taking interest, and I said, Well, look, yes, you can pick tops and bottoms. In an SMI with VSA, you can. But what you've got to realise is it's much easier for you as a trader and less stressful to jump in. And so what Tira is about to show you is what we discussed earlier in gold and what we
Yeah.
saw. Yeah. So
And you know
Tira,
what? Interesting enough, I mean, both of them are saying the same thing, which is what I'll put into perspective over here with what the Smart Center Pro is doing and everything. Now, guys, so I will start off with the same principles that you have heard before, but I will just forward it a bit more because there's a lot of recordings on YouTube which you can watch. You see, the first principle is always what Gavin was just mentioning before. Nothing can, none of the instruments, right? Put a commodity, put a bond, put a bond futures, options, whatever chart you put on top, currency, stocks, nothing moves in a straight line. All of you will agree with that. Is that right to say? If it is, just type in yes. If it doesn't move in a straight line, you all will agree with the second point, which is then it will move in a cycle. Now, I know all these points look pretty basic, pretty simple, but let's go deeper into this second point here, that everything moves in a cycle, whether it's a gold chart, whether it's a Dow Jones chart, whether it's an S&P chart, whether it's Tesla chart, they all move in cycles, don't they? Now, if they do move, now here's the important point, and I think this is where everybody gets confused. I just saw some messages coming in. Oh yeah, I just went short on gold just now, or I just went long. You know, I was just bullish some time ago. But here is where the problem begins in point number 2, is that traders, one, like what Gavin's Smart Center Pro was showing, a higher time frame, like a weekly or a daily, can show that it is in an uptrend. Just like what is happening on the gold right now, right? Which is also shown on the Smart Center Pro, indication of a green block on the daily. However, based on the first principle, in terms of a swing perspective, if you are in this part of the swing, and currently right now gold is around here, which is over here, you and I know because of principle number 1, it can never keep going in a straight line forever. And because it moves in cycles, at some point it will turn to make a top, which is what at the moment it's currently looking to do. And if you take a look, so complementary the methodologies, look at the indication by the VSA indicator saying potential selling. And in alignment with these principles, because you know why they align so much together. And as I explained, you'll start to see, and some of you will have aha moments. The reason for that is because both our mentors designed this around the same period, and our mentor's mentor, when he designed the formulas for the tops and bottoms of the SMI framework, was following a lot from the Richard Wyckoff's methodology. He just quantified it. That's all he has done. And because of that, you get really precise entries and exit points. Now, let me explain further and complete my train of thought and give you all the full understanding. Because it moves in cycles, let's go a bit more deeper. You start to understand and pull out certain principles that, yes, it can't move in a straight line forever. The move left is getting lesser. Institutional term that we all use over here, MasterTheMarkets and hedge funds use, is called open equity. The open equity is diminishing. That means open profit is diminishing because it cannot move in a straight line forever. It's overextended, if you want to call it that way. It has got to turn around. And that is when, if you do want to take a short, just based on the simple principles on the strategies, if you want to take a short, you now go on to the lower time frames, like the 4-hour, the 1-hour, the 15-minute, right? And start to see if the trend has changed on them, because on the daily, it looks like this. Yes, it's in an uptrend. But on the 4-hour or the 1-hour, it would have started to change and starting to show a downtrend. Now, here's the thing that Gavin always mentions back in his videos again. Even though you may think to take a shot on a lower time frame, but always, always, always be careful of the trend on the higher time frame and how long you should hold that short on the lower time frame. Because think about it when you put it all together, yeah? On the 1 hour time frame, actually, in fact, without me just drawing that, let me just go on to the 1 hour. I'll show it to you. And then it will coincide with what the Smart Center Pro is actually showing you as well, right? Let me just show you over here on the gold. In fact, let me just change that to GC. One, gold futures, over that. There we go. And then we will wait for the SMI. So over here on the 1 hour time frame, when it's showing you this, that it has come back here, let's say there was a smaller lower point over there, it is already starting to show you a trend change on the 1 hour time frame. So to put into perspective, this is what's happening. On the daily time frame, it is showing you an uptrend, but it's turning to make a top. But on the 1 hour, this part here is what is showing you like this, right? So it's a downtrend, phase 1, in alignment with the trend. This is a top to bottom move. I've talked about this before, and we talk about this much more in detail in the mentorship programs. Now, in terms of this, I just want you all to make aware, and if I can put this aside, in this one point you want to take away from this webinar would be, on the higher time frame, it will show you a different trend, and it's a phase 2. Phase 2 means what? Top to bottom, a retracement. Breathing in, breathing out is breathing out now because you can't move in a straight line forever. Some profit taking is happening. All these different terminologies refers to the same thing. That it's a phase 2. It's a retracement phase in an uptrend, a top to bottom move going down. But you just have to be careful when you take that 1 hour short trade, that finally, which is what me and Gavin were speaking about before we came onto this webinar, even if you're taking that short trade on 1 hour, and I saw some messages coming in, just got to be careful that don't take it too long thinking that it's going to go short forever on the 1 hour time frame, because the higher time frame, the higher tide can eventually, the higher time frame usually wins, can eventually turn around, resume with its trend, and kick out all your stops on a short move. So that is why when you're going against a trend on a higher time frame, you got to be very precise and know when the tide on the higher time frame is going to end and where you're going to get out.
Absolutely.
The exit point is very critical. I think that's one point I just wanted to drive into them. And in fact, the interesting thing, Gavin, is that on the Smart Center Pro, what you have, everything what is saying on the lower time frame, the trend change and everything, is exactly aligning with what the Smart Money Indicator is showing as well. Because
Tiru, go to the S&P right now. If no one believes what we're telling you, just go, I said the S&P has to go up vertical. It has to go up. Now go to the S&P.
So let's show that right now.
I've now moved my stop to up to profit. Now I'm watching.
There you go.
I've got a target above me. This is has to go up. Has to. Right? You've got to see this. So Smart Center Pro has been firing off these little indicators. I've had my thing on mute, but it's been firing off buy signals on 1 minute chart, 10 tick charts. It had to go up. And I'm using the professional version because I've got it. There's a lot more that it does than the base version. And it's firing off emails, and, it's...
So let me just do that straight away now here. So you see, this is what Gavin is doing.
5230 is the target initially, but I'm not going to close there. But 5230 is where it's going to hit, right? So 5230, it's pushing up on nice volume. It's not excessive volume. Okay, it's broken the old top, so that's a good sign. And the SMI indicator right at the bottom confirmed it. And the trend clusters, which are a very important part of the software, which I'm happy to demo to anyone, but they're there. They are showing me that the support line is where the clusters are, and it refused to break it. So you've got everything that Wyckoff taught us is in the chart. And when I take it back, I'll show you. But you've got spring, a retracement, which actually, Tiru, I talked about. I said I wouldn't go long on that widespread bar. I'd wait for it to retrace.
Actually, you know what? Why don't we go through this step by step? So you looked at this on the 15-minute time frame?
So the time frame I'm on at the moment, let me just move the Zoom thing. I'm on a 5-minute chart.
You're on a 5-minute chart. Let me bring that up. But before we go on to the 5-minute, very quickly, traders, all listening in right now, right? Live, now trading, no hindsight here. Now, you see on the S&P at the moment, that is an uptrend. It's over here. Some of you might be a bit wary saying, hey, Thiru, you just said nothing moves in a straight line. You know, it can turn around anytime. Yes, that's right. It's overextended. Open profit is low. But watch. If you still want to take the trade long, what Gavin is doing, you still have to analyze the lower time frames, and most important is the exit. You see, immediately he mentioned such a small exit at 5,230. Let's analyze this a much more in detail. On the 1 hour, very quickly before I go down into the 5-minute, you see over here, this is what I mean, and that's why Gavin has taken it long as well. There's a trend change, you see? It's still showing strong movement towards the upside. On the 1 hour, even though it's done that, it's taken out the last high. On the 1 hour, it's on the up, and I'm sure on your Smart Center Pro, it's shown a green block as well. Is that right, Gavin?
Yeah, 100%. They're
so,
all
so they're all aligned.
Yep.
That's what I'm telling you. Both the methodologies align so much together. Now, I go on to the 15-minute, then I think it's the 5-minute what you were really after, wasn't it?
And yeah, well, I'm looking at the 5 myself, but that doesn't mean I'm using Super Scalper, which is the strategy that you and I developed further, but we're using the one.
And there you go. It's so beautiful because look at this, right? Even on this, if some of you guys might be thinking, I just want to rely on the block green color or whatever. If you don't want to do that, even on a logical basis, it's aligning. Look, even if you turn that into a line diagram, the trend change here happened on the 15-minute, exactly when Gavin said about the spring bar. Let me just show you that. I quickly show them that in replay mode because I think these principles are important that they understand, Gavin, because then they can see how both the methodologies are aligning, isn't it? And that will give them the confidence. And I think over the 5 days that they'll spend with us on the mentorship, these things all will be honed in much more clearly. So if you take a look, let me just replay that. So you see over here, this is exactly, look at how Gavin's thing and this thing is all matching up the price and volume. And that's why a lot of people invite us to come and talk, STA, Ninja Trader and all of that. You see, look at this. Now you see, when that big bar happened there, that's where the trend change happened, the spring bar that you may call, that Trade Guider and the team uses. You see, the trend got changed here on the 15-minute, right? It was a downtrend, but with this big bar, the trend changed. It took the last high. It will show you as a green block on the Smart Center Pro, right? And aligning with a Smart Money framework indicator that we got. And then if you forward that a bit in replay mode, if you want a bit more confidence, you wait for a test, which is what usually Gavin waits for. So what do we mean by a test is that wait for the top to get confirmed, which is the orange arrow with the orange dot. Then after that, wait for a blue dot if you want to use both of them combined together. So over here is where we are at. At the moment, if you waited for the test, you would have got in here on the close on the break of that high. Now, if you wanted a bit more, much more earlier entry, which is what Gavin did, once he saw that big uptrust move and with the big volume bar, and then he goes into the 5-minute time frame, right, which is what you can guide us through your thought process over here, Gavin. But the first trend change happened over here on this bar. Let me go back into replay mode. It's a bit more easier for you guys to watch that. This is why when you understand the simple principles of trend change and alignment of the trend to get into a move, it becomes much more simpler. So think about this. This is the first step between the price and volume strategy. We wait for alignment of the smaller time frames in terms of trend alignment. So that's the first thing we look at, trend alignment with price and volume. So over here, the first thing we look at is a change in trend with the spring bar. That's the first thing we look at. Trend alignment. Okay. So on the 5-minute, that has turned into a uptrend now, as well as the 15, 60-minute time frames, which is what he showed on the Smart Center Pro. That's the first step you look. Trend alignment but with the environment or what's also going on in the daily and the weekly time frames, higher time frame, just so that you don't get caught out. Now, the next thing is then you wait for a test. Okay, so we wait for this, right, to turn around after that trend change to make a top. Okay, so over here, so there you go. It's made a stop now, right? So let me hide that for a minute. So you see, it's made that top with that confirmation, still hasn't taken out that low over here. That's the most important thing. The trend is still maintaining on the 5-minute. Okay, now then what we wait for is for the bottom to hold and to come back up. So let's see. So the first bottom went up. So on this, Gavin said, so you see, if we were trading on a smart money framework, we're taking on the close, but we'll put the stop loss very far away because we are looking to ride it onto higher time frames for a price objective. But I'll come to that in a minute before we look at where to place the stop loss. But this is one entry that you can take a look at once the bottom gets confirmed. The other entry is what usually Gavin would wait for, is wait for the first shakeout to happen, right? So this got shaken out. Now the second one is what he will wait for. If you want to enter in that way, you wait for that, and that's where we get the next confirmation. So let me just do one bar here.
And Terry, just quickly.
There we go. So I will just finish off with this, Gavin, and then you just let me know where was that the more or less the place where you got in. So that would be kind of the price that we look at 5205 to get in. And if you want a tight stop loss, it would be at the low of this. If you want a conservative one where you want to ride out the volatility and ride on the higher time frames, it would be at the bottom of that. And then as of now, Gavin is having it as 5230 target. So this is my thinking on it. First is trend alignment. Second is going to a lower time frame to look at the precise entry points. Was that similar to the way you were thinking, Gavin?
Well, now you've talked. I've just hit the target. Just got hit. Can I take the screen because I'm now in a. This is a very good trade. So I think first of all, I'll show you what Smart Center Pro told me. We hit the 5230.
Yeah, there you go. We just hit it, isn't it? Over there. That's right.
About that, but that's neither here nor there. The point is now, where's the next one? Is what people want to know. So that's a couple of you have emailed me, and thank you, and I will call you back saying, how did you know it was going to go to 5230? You can't know that. You can. You use point and figure charting, which is what I use in Cargi. But I'm not going to talk about that publicly. It's what David Weiss taught me. And, we're not doing, but yeah, at the show, we had to use PowerPoints. Now, a lot of you from the show are in this room. I can see you. That's why I said I'm very confident when I give you a target and I show you the background, you will see why. Now, this is probably quite important. I'm going to share my screen with you all.
Yeah, go for it.
If that's okay. And we'll do the entire screen. And then we'll explain it. Okay. Terry, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, go for it.
All right, obviously I want to keep this fairly simple because in our mentorship course, we're going to go into a lot more detail. But one of the things that I learned from David Weiss, I've worked with some of the greatest traders in the world, in my opinion. People like, some of you have heard of Rob Hoffman, David Weiss, Gary Dayton, Hank Pruden, Tom Williams, Tiru Nagapan. I mean, we can keep going. Tiru's look at him. He's going, oh God, I'm up with the masters. But actually, to be fair, this is very straightforward. Everything that's Wyckoff. While Tiru was talking, I was reading the Magazine of Wall Street, which I'm going to be quoting from in the mentorship course. And I'm reading chapter 4 of this, and it talks about the spring, right? This Wyckoff talked about the spring. And I've got this. I'd love to show you it. Unfortunately, my camera on this computer doesn't work, but I'm going to next time put it on camera. When we do the mentorship course, we'll have the camera up and running. Now, why did I think that it was going to go to 5230? Like half an hour or 50 minutes ago. In fact, I told Tiru that, an hour and a half ago, Tiru? So we discussed this. And I said, I think there's going to be a spring, a shakeout, and then a test of the low. It's not going to go straight away. Now it is. Look. Okay, it's broken that 5230. Okay, but it's now this is key area. But all the trend clusters have been tracking it. look at the cluster here, which is Smart Center Pro. That orange diamond, which you see, is a support line. All right. Now I'm going to break this down for you. You look to the left, Smart Center Pro, okay, which is what the professionals use. You know, this is not the cheapest piece of software, but it works. All of the software will work if you use it properly, but I happen to use this because it's been developed over many years. And if we look at the E-mini S&P here, we're going to see everything's in alignment. Okay, so if I jump in the river and I want to go out to sea, everything is green. The garden is green. I'm teaching a pilot at the moment, and I mentioned this at the show. Tiru was with me. And I said, I've got this guy that's a pilot that I'm teaching, mentorship with me. And I asked him the same question. I said, look, when you get in your aircraft, that you must have some sort of checklist, right? He said, what do you mean must have? We have to have. The first thing we do when we come out, and we've got the Boeing, I think it's a 777, or I forget what he said, but he walked around the aircraft to look for damage to the fuselage and to the tyres. Oh, right, okay. And then he ticks a box. Then he gets into the cockpit, and then they've got like over 100 different boxes they've got to tick. Well, trading's no different. It's absolutely the same. Here, without a doubt, is a reversal bar. That's a spring. Okay, if you don't understand Wyckoff and you don't want to understand Wyckoff, I can tell you that's a spring. It's a markdown on massive Yao Ming volume described in the previous YouTube video, closing up near the top, but it needs to be tested. So these indicators here are absolutely spot on. And in fact, I mean, I was talking to Tiru. He said, are you going to go long now? I said, no, I'm going to wait for a retest of that area. Down it came. Number 96, SOS. Doesn't mean save our souls. It's sign of strength. It's a test. Well, it could mean save our souls if it carried on going. But it didn't. It's a test. Next bar's up into this middle region, which I call a trigger area. And how could I possibly know it was going to go to 5230, which, of course, it will. That's something I'm not going to talk about publicly, but you can project it. Do I have a profit target on this? No, because now I can go and look very closely at what these bars are telling me. And I've got the SMI indicator on the other screen. Okay, now there it is, 5230, right? Watch and learn. This is what you'll know. And this is something that Tom said to me years ago. And it's true. When I first met Tiru, we both came to the same conclusion. You know, there. See, everything's turned green, right? Everything. That's the power of this. And when I first met Tiru, one of the things he said to me was, I just want to tell the truth about trading, right? Because there's so much rubbish out there, which there is. I've seen it. But what we can show you live is what we're showing you. We can't, I mean, Tiru and I didn't like to do that PowerPoint presentation where we're saying, in hindsight, that looked great, didn't it? This was what we've said live. And when we came up with this, and I said to Tiru that, I said, I'm going to keep going with this because it's bullish. Everything's bullish. I've got no signs of serious weakness to concern me. Green, 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 green. And Tiru asked me the question. He said, so what's the most important thing? This one over here, that one here. I said, well, you look at the right edge of the chart. The river is flowing out. Bewley River is flowing out into the Solent.
Exactly. And I think that's the first step in the strategy, trend alignment. That's what we are telling them. Look at the last column of green bars alignment. That's your trend alignment, traders. That's one rule you can use for strategy 1. Look for trend alignment across all of them. Environment is clean. The higher time frames are clean. You can take a position on the lower time frames on the 1-5 minute. And then what you then do, go on to the smaller time frame, to find that bottom of the spring and the large volume supporting it. with support from the smart money indicator for precise entries, because that's what some of you are saying that you're having problems with, precise entries. And then you can then get in with the blue dot confirmation. That's how you can use both of them together. An entry, that's the first step. Over to you, Gavin. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And so we'll go and put this in trading view, but I'm using the two, just to be clear, so everyone's clear. We have the SMI, and well, Tiri has programmed the SMI indicator into NinjaTrader as well, which we'll be using in the mentorship course. I haven't got it on this computer. I've got it on my other computer, so but which I can't unfortunately show you. But we will show you that. But nevertheless, I'm keeping this fairly straightforward. Now, I want you to analyze, all of you, this bar. Okay, watch this bar, because we're right at a critical level at that 5230, which I said. Now, this is really important. This could really take off. Okay, because the support line is below us, and on my other screen, I'm seeing. Well, I'll show you. Because we've got the shakeout, okay, shakeout, test. You've got everything that Tom taught me. Now, what we'll do, I'm going to leave that running because it's got the gold short. See, everything's starting to align. There it goes. Okay, this is blown off. Has to. Okay, that's a big move. Okay, but it's been picked up because of that 1 minute test has gone. And if we look back at the 1 minute chart, and I'll just switch that off, I'll show you exactly where it signaled.
Gavin, one of the main questions that's coming through is 5130 was one of the targets. Where do you think is going next, and how do we choose that target level?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't know is the answer. I knew it was going to go there from point, but now I know this is going to go up. It's vertical. Until I see a sign of weakness, I'm staying long. I'm not going to short it.
And I think the usual then question, usually I'm sure you had that as well, is how do they then trail their stop loss? Maybe if you can show that, and then they can have that as a rough example. And of course, we go there into detail in the mentorship, of course.
I'm going to say I'm not going to show that because it's part of the proprietary system in Smart Center Pro, and I'll do that in the mentorship. I'm not going to show
That'd
that.
be good, yeah.
But I'm using a chandelier stop. So now this is going to go. I can actually the point and figure chart is saying it's going to go to 5235. Okay, in any minute. Okay, so 5235. That's based on something I'm not going to talk about publicly because it's a public webinar and we've got hundreds and hundreds of people here. But obviously we're a business. We need to make money. But we've hit the first target. Now we're moving. But everything's logical. Okay, the trending system here, which I use a lot, which I'll talk about, combined with this, is telling me the market's going in a direction and there's no signs of weakness that would cause me a problem. I'm just going to stick with this actually because I'm going to. If it hits 5235, then I think we could see weakness at that point. Let's see.
I think in that juncture, traders, I know you're asking all those questions. I mean, trading stop losses, there's so many. I mean, usually 3 categories of stop losses are time, money, and technical. I mean, a usual one that people usually use is moving average, trailing, and all that. I mean, as Gavin had mentioned, I mean, for us to go much more in detail and depth, it's a bit tricky in a very short webinar, and that's why we got more detailed mentorship programs and private ones where we go into much more detail on how to trail the stop loss and how the numbers actually work in your favor. The good thing about Gavin is that, I mean, you usually use trailing stops, isn't it, Gavin? You don't usually use targets.
No, I don't have a target at all. And same as this, I've not got a target. I think it'll hit 4235 any minute. But
yeah, that's the best thing. Sometimes people always ask, what's the best thing to do? Should we put a target? Should I not put a target? Should I keep trailing? Finally, it comes down to what you're comfortable with. I mean, and what numbers actually you are happy with. Everything will have its pros and cons. With a trading stop loss, you will capture the big runners, which will happen about 10 to 15% of the time. And that will bring your equity curve really high up. Whereas compared to maybe strategy 2 and another trader who might put targets, they might not be able to capture the bigger runners, but maybe if they got their targets at the right place, maybe 50 to 60 or 60 to 70% of their winners might hit the target and the numbers will start to change again. There'll be pros and cons of everything. What I would say is test the different things out and see which one fits with your personality. I think these are the discussions that we'll have in the mentorship program, because it requires in-depth analysis and looking at the different perspectives, which we can't cover really in a short, webinar like this. Wouldn't you say that, Gavin?
Well, we've gone through the target. The next target now is actually a bit more difficult, because what I'm seeing is actually the volume is really healthy. I think it's going to continue to rally, which I can explain. So it's gone through the 5-2. It's gone through the area that we just discussed. So it's gone through two targets. Let me explain to the audience why I don't set a profit target. Okay, because people ask me all the time. So when you've got a trade, now, if I'd have set the profit target over here, okay, I'd have missed a big move. So a trailing stop, which I'm going to teach in the mentorship course, is called a chandelier. That's what they call it. And Tom taught me this, and it's something I haven't really done publicly. And Cargi charts. I'm using people call it KG, Cargi, whatever. It's what I'm using on the other screen. Now, what it does, it enables me to project where the market's going. All right. Now, at this moment in time, it's going to hit 5,240. Okay. Now, the reason I can confidently say that is they're going to test this level. But I would, if do not take the trade on an up move. You want to wait for the pullback and then get in, which is what I did down here. Okay. And that's exactly how you do it. You look for the background, the strength, and then the test of that top. If you mark that bar where the close is, you're right on that close. There's no accidents in the financial markets if you know how to read a chart. And Turu and I have been doing this for long enough to know we can read charts. And you can see, when we were at the show, the London Trader Show, we had to use a PowerPoint, and it really frustrated me that I couldn't show a live chart. So in the end, we went on to after we'd finished our presentation, we went on to the stand at Active Trades, and we showed the live charts. Exactly what you're seeing now, but it was in gold. We can make you a better trader or a profitable trader. We know this because we've been doing it for years. Now, will some of you fail? Yes. I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest. Some of you will go through a course and then you'll jump to something else. The people I met at the show were quite interesting. Many of them said, I bought this, it didn't work. I bought this, it didn't work. I bought this, it didn't work. And then I said, well, what are you looking at? Mathematical formulas. That's it. You look stochastic, MACD. Everyone teaches it. Candles. We're not looking at that. We're very unique. Our USP is volume spread analysis and SMI. That's what we're good at. And it works. No one can argue with a live chart. It's very easy to look in hindsight, isn't it? And that's what a lot of people on YouTube do. But we've got a massive audience here, broadcasting on YouTube live and recording this. 5240. Watch. Now, that's a great lesson here. We've got an indicator here, which I suspect is going to be no demand, which it is. Now watch. If this tests in the next minute, and SMI showing me potential here that I did say this, that the 5230 level is quite important. This could actually pull back. But that's fine. If you're long and you've got a chandelier stop, you've already made money. You don't care. Tiru, when you are looking, actually, let me just put up something. One sec. I'm just going to pull up the gold chart. Now, I'm going to put up a longer time frame because that's what we were talking about. And I'm going to do the 60-minute chart.
I think as Gavin is putting that, traders, I know some of you are saying, okay, where can we learn more about this? One is Gavin's book. Definitely get that. I think Glenn and our team has put the link for that. And the other thing also 7 steps as well. 7 steps video series. So watch that. So both that in combination, the 7 steps video series, as well as Gavin's book, will answer most of your questions. I think Glenn can help to put the link over there. Yeah, Gavin, go for it. Okay,
so you're all going to get a copy of the book. I'll tell you where you can get that, and you can just email me.
I think Glenn has put the link there.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, all right. So why is gold fallen quite rapidly? Well, it's because of what happened over here. These 3 signals. Okay, so the first one was on massive volume. highest volume we've seen for a long time. That's selling. But the momentum, like the river, kept flowing. So the second indicator came in, selling pressure. Massive indicator. Has to be right. Because we can see gold's falling. And then over here, we get what we call our confirmation bar. Remember, the trend hasn't changed. You wouldn't be short yet. You'd be looking for a short. No demand. That's in my second book. That's that sequence. It's in the book. And then we get the fall in gold. Now, I want to go and show you this in TradingView, because some people don't use NinjaTrader. They might use TradingView. This works in TradingView. So in TradingView, this is the ES on the 1 minute chart. Okay. Well, we can see all the things. Look at the last indicator here. This is the, quite clearly a test. But we look at the SMI indicator behind it. It's confirming everything. Okay. Look, that's price action with volume spread analysis confirming. And we've blown through 2 of the targets already. If you understand this, you will understand why that indicator there, the PB, massive volume, is controlling price. Has to be. Now, I've got several emails coming in and a couple of texts from WhatsApp. I can't answer all of them because we haven't got time. But I will say this. You can all get a copy of the book, Trading in the Shadow of the Smart Money. And that's with my compliments. We sell it off Amazon. If you want the printed copy, which many do, you can go to amazon.co.uk, amazon.com. Just type in my name, you'll find it. And then if you want to find out more about what Tiru and I are going to be doing, we've filled up the first course. We've got a second one that we've added with new dates. Let me just refresh that, because I think that's I have to refresh that. But you can go to Trade to Win and if Tiru, I don't know if you can type that in.
No, I think Glenn has got it. I think they will put it over there. I think, yeah, Glenn, if you can help us just put that mentorship link over there.
Yeah, it's tradetowin.com/mentorship. It's quite straightforward. That will show you everything that we're doing now, but we're going to do a lot more over the top of it. Okay. Now, it's very interactive, which means we've only got 10 places because we open mic, which means we're going to use Zoom for that, which is what we're using here. And it's a very interactive course, meaning that we do 5 sessions over a period of 90 to 2 hours. We do the basics, we do the advanced stuff, and we show some of the stuff that we're not showing publicly. You're very welcome to join us. And we actually do form, and we've already done this, trading groups that work with us, that form their own little groups, and we come in and help. So it's something that you can do. The Trade to Win package is included with the SMI software. So if you want both, and I'll just go to, actually, I'm going to go to Tesla quickly, because what is very interesting is this is Elon Musk, right? 1 hour chart, we get the SMI indicator up here at the top. It flows with the tide, it goes down, and then we get no demand, and it starts to fall. But I want to show you a bigger picture, because I think, and then I can hand back over to Tiru. But if we look at the daily chart, okay, we've got something going on the earnings report. So I'm giving you a pre-warning here, which we'll be trading this live in the mentorship course, because I've seen this on the earnings. Terrible. Terrible. But the market tested it. Went back up. SMI said, no, not ready yet. That's why it works. The smart money indicator said, no, it's going to push down, a bit like it did with gold. But the E-mini S&P today completely confirmed the upward move. Here, okay, got all this news and stuff going on. I'm not care about the news. This level here, I cannot buy this stock right now. Complete opposite. Because you've got a gap. But it tried to fill the gap, but the SMI indicator said to me, here and here, no, It's not going to fill it. It was right. And when you look at this, you can see the power of it. It's Tira and I have done many presentations together. And, you know, we're in a business that's very competitive. And everyone thinks they've got the best thing since sliced bread. Right? They go, well, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. We'll keep it really straightforward for you. Markets work on universal laws. They always have, and they always will. Supply and demand, cause and effect, effort versus result. What does VSA look at? Those. What does SMI look at? Those laws. We don't try to deviate. We don't try to apply mathematical formulas to anything. It's very straightforward. And in Trading in the Shadow, I suggest the first chapter you read is chapter 9. And I've said this, Tira and I both of the same view. You know, when I wrote that book, and I can scroll all the way down to chapter 9, but I'm not going to even bother because it takes too long. But read chapter 9. That is why Tira and I are on the same page, the same wavelength, if you want to call it that, because we both understand your frustrations of why you're not making it in the market. And why, you know, there's many books out there that I've read, and I know Tira has too, about price action and volume and all sorts of things. What we try to do is KISS. Haha, don't think I kiss Tira, I don't. It's keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, Tira stuff. I will never kiss Tira, don't worry. But keep it simple, stupid. Do not overcomplicate your analysis. You don't need to. Here's gold. Okay? It's going down. Okay? There's no argument with that. No one's going to argue with that. If we go back now, finally here, to and we'll just put that up. Okay, we can see in gold why it's going down because of that selling pressure. Okay, if we go to the E-mini, we can see why it's hit the 523 level and starting to rebound. It's totally logical. And you know, one of the things that you can see here, I mean, I know Tira was saying that prices don't go vertical, but when we've got everything in Smart Center Pro, green, and we put up our software, and here, the NASDAQ's doing the same thing. Look at this. This is a pilot looking at his instruments saying, I'm cleared for takeoff. And we're doing it live on YouTube, and I see loads of people still logging in. This is the truth. This is how the markets work. And I'll just recap, and I'll let Tira finish off. But ultimately, we had a spring. But if we go out a few time frames, you'll get a much better picture of it. You go to a 60-minute chart. Okay. And we can see here on the 60-minute chart, everything started to turn green. Now,
strength has arrived.
Now, look, interesting. I didn't plan that. 5-minute chart, okay, it's flashing. Everything's green. Watch. We'll go to the 5-minute chart. What do we see? Here you go. So 5-minute chart's clear, isn't it? There's
sign of strength has arrived.
See it? It's here. So what they're saying, what the software's telling me is that it's in an uptrend and it's come down and its volume's low. It's testing. It went all the way up to 5236. Now watch. And then I'm going to hand back to Tira. If this next bar closes higher than that bar, it will be what we call a confirmed indicator. A confirmed, because that bar there has got a very light shade to it. That bar there is solid. Why? Software does it. It says it's not confirmed. That was confirmed. Okay, the test. If you read it, it tells you. You just click on the indicator. Following a test, expect higher prices. Well, that's what we've got. So I'm going to finish off by saying, before I hand back to Tira, who can wrap it up, if you're really serious about learning to trade and invest, we can definitely help you. You can see that. The mentorship course that Tira and I have put together over the last few months is ready to go. And we've added a second course, which we're going to be doing at the end of March. If you want to come in, what can you expect from us? And what can you expect as you move forward? Well, I can tell you, because we've been doing the course already. Number one, you'll become a lot better at chart reading. Absolutely. You'll become, in effect, an expert in chart reading. Number two, you'll connect with other people who are like-minded, who are like you, who want to learn to trade. Number three, you'll understand what smart money indicator is and how it complements the VSA method. And even if you're new to it, the support mechanism around that course is very powerful, because not only is it Tiru and myself that have put it together, but then you connect with other people. And that's why we enjoy doing it, because it's not always about us. It's about you, and bringing you into a group, or a family, as I call it, of the VSA SMI people who know what charts do, as you can see. And I think the most important thing I've learned is I've become very good friends with many individuals that have been on these courses. Some have visited my property here, my farmhouse in the forest, in the New Forest National Park. And I went, Tiru very kindly invited me up to an event with Prince William, which was a great event at Battersea Power Station, Rhino Man. And this was a film about saving rhinos, which has now become very close to my heart after being to there. So, and it was a customer of ours that invited us. And I think what we've learned, the two of us, is if you are doing your best, you're trying to tell the truth about the market, which I'm sure we are. You can see it. If you understand supply and demand, if you understand cause and effect, and you understand effort versus result, then you can read a chart. But the fourth thing I want to leave you with is the final chapter that I'm writing in my book right now. It's all about the law of attraction, your belief system. Tiru and I are exactly on the same wavelength. I use the word wavelength, because that's what it is. The same page, if you want to call it that. Because in order to instill confidence in someone, you have to get on their wavelength. Now, when I writing this final chapter last night, I was just finishing it off. I watched a really good video on YouTube, and it talks about something which is a little bit scientific, but it's starting to be proven, and it's how you think is what you become. And I thought, well, what the hell have I been thinking then? But when I've looked back at my books and what I've written down and my trading plan, and indeed Tiru's will be the same, we've become exactly what we said we would do. So one of the things to be successful in life generally is to commit to what you believe in. If you believe in volume spread analysis, which of course I do, or SMI, which Tiru does, and put the two together, we both know we can stand up on a stage at the London Traders Show and show this, and show what we're doing on the stand. Then you have a concrete plan for your future. That's what we want to give you. With that being said, I'm going to hand over to Tiru to wrap it up. And to all of you, I just say what I said at the show. Look at the video on YouTube. Okay, it's youtube.com/trade guider. If you need a demo of the software one-to-one, we can arrange it. But to all of you, I just say good trading. May you make constant profits, and namaste. And may your God bless you. Take care. Tiru, back to you.
All right, traders, just to all summarize everything up, thanks so much for that, Kevin. I think it puts a lot into perspective. I'm seeing a few of the questions. Yes, you got the links for the mentorship, guys. Everybody on Zoom, we will send you the 7 steps video series. So check that in your inbox. That will really help you with everything what we've spoken today on price and volume. give you the 3 stats as well. Also, Gavin's book as well. He's put the link for that as well. Glenn has put the link for that too. A couple of other things very quickly, just to touch on. As I said, we all did a webinar together, Gavin, I, and Tom at Ninja Trader. 2,700 views in 2 weeks. There's one that I did as well. 18,000 views, again talking on price and volume, and Gavin has done one with 28,000 views as well. The other thing also, we are trading all this live on the price and volume on the 100K Traders Challenge, and that is on our YouTube channel too, youtube.com/masterthemarkets. You can go there, you can check it all out. You see, because we believe in so much in all this, we show it transparently. Of course, past performance not indicative of future performance. You can show that over the past 1 year. You can see all that is verified, every single trade locked in, every win and loss, real, and it's all been verified, track record, trading privileges. And we also took the Traders Challenge, and that's also by Tradiac. So we can only do that if you have belief in something, is it not, traders? Yeah, that's the main thing. That is what comes down to everything what we spoke about today, all the strategy. But I would say first thing is, in any strategy, in terms of the rules, to summarize, look for the trend alignment. That's the first thing in price and volume. We'll go into this more in detail in the mentorship course. Second thing is then, as what Gavin said, you can wait for the shakeout, right? And then the third thing is that we can wait for the SMI blue dot if you're going on a long, right? That's what you can look at. And then in terms of the targets, there's 2 ways. One is don't use a target, just use a trailing stop loss, which we'll go through much more in detail in the mentorship program. Or if you do want to use a target, you can use our open equity data, which we've spoken a lot on, but will be explained in the 7 steps to CTP video course, Consistent Trading Performance. I think that's pretty much that. I know some of you guys are already looking to come on to the mentorship. That's really good. We'll talk more in detail over there. The last thing what I do want to mention is some of you who are from Master the Market say, oh, but some of the strategies we don't use volume. Sometimes we do, but you see, in terms of the strategies that we have designed, in the bigger ones, to write the bigger moves, volume becomes so helpful. But there's so many ways to use it, and there's 1,001 strategies we can keep developing. But keep to a few. That's what we began the webinar with. I mean, start with one, get really good at it, build another one second, and then finish off with the third one. Okay. In terms of Brent oil, we are using both. We are using price and volume. We did take this, and it's all live as well that we are doing at the moment. And I don't want to go too much into detail into all of this, but basically it's the same principles, right? So we looked at, and we all published in real time in TradingView as well. We look for an uptrend, phase 2 move, looking to capture the turning point, which becomes then a phase 1. For those kind of big moves, then we go on to lower time frames and we use the volume to see where the smart money blueprint is. These are the kind of things that we're going to be speaking much more in detail on the mentorship program. I guess that's pretty much that. Most of the questions I think we have already handled it. You can use whatever broker account you want. Somebody's asking over there, Gavin, on can they use their current live account? That's all fine. The methodologies is what we'll be using. Kuldip, it was good to see you at the Trader Show. It was really good. Don't worry about too much confusing. As I said, keep to a few strategies and then build the volume on top. The volume will definitely help in terms of the reliability. Okay, and read Gavin's book. That will really help as well. I guess if there's not pretty much anything else, I think we can wrap up over here. 3 things I always say before we wrap up is always keep in thinking like what Gavin said. Think simple. Keep it simple. Start with one strategy first. Don't think about 1,001. Start with one strategy first. And always know these 3 things. I would always say, think always open equity. How much move is left? Second thing is just don't think of one trade. Think of probabilities. And the last thing I would say is always keep thinking of edge. Why must your strategy continue to work? Develop your edge such that your strategy becomes sustainable, scalable, and reproducible. I think with that, Gavin, if there's nothing else, I think we can basically conclude.
There's one more thing. S&P is going to 5240, just so you know.
That's good. You know what, viewers all listening in, you can definitely keep track of that. I will put that screen and then we can end off over there. Critical thing, if it does push higher, it will take out 5257, but 5240 is the next one. You guys can take a look at that. You saw that us taking us that live with Gavin's analysis as well with the price and volume, and we look forward to seeing many of you on the mentorship program and serving you over there. I think with that, traders, I think we can call that a wrap. And as we always say, till the next time, stay disciplined, follow your trading plan, and keep trading like a master. Bye for now.